No, something's not right. Sorry, just a little acid reflux from lunch there, excuse me. Welcome back to Top 5 Scary. I'm your most horrifying host, Kyle McWaters, and this week we're diving into our favorite secret organization's collection of their most hostile and haunted objects. The hardest part is keeping them on the DL. And this week, we're looking at the top 5 most terrifying SCPs that have recently escaped. I'm sorry?
Class, Keter, SCPs that either cannot be fully contained or that require overly complex and elaborate procedures to contain. This is a recording.
And coming in at number 5, SCP-1750.
Autobots, roll out.
Reptilian Transformers? Sounds terrifying already. This animalistic ancient consciousness has the power to possess petroleum-based vehicles, anything from automobiles to propeller-powered aircraft. With an SCP class of Keter, this autonomous consciousness seems to have breached special containment procedures recently and is moving quite fast and quite furious. The Foundation is collaborating with overseas governments, automotive manufacturers, and environmental protection agencies to advance the development and understanding of this phenomenon. Mobile Task Force MU-13 is working with the Department of Analytics to investigate and neutralize 2 vehicles and petroleum-based machines that may be affected by SCP-1750 as we speak. Affected vehicles should be delivered to Foundation Disposal Site 93 for recycling and containment. I wonder if the Foundation has a back parking lot, just a bunch of haunted Supras. I don't know. SCP-1750 vehicles animated by the phenomenon display animal-like behaviors with similarities to serpents, crocodiles, and birds. Terrifying. Possibly a Jurassic consciousness. There does not seem to be any underlying pattern or cause to the phenomenon. Exorcisms specialized for reptilian ectomorphs have proven the most effective at neutralizing SCP-1750, which also end naturally once the vehicle runs out of a fuel source. Okay, that's a good sign. Just needs oil and blood to survive. It is hypothesized that 1750 is the result of dinosaur-based ectomorphs inhabiting the fuel in the vehicles from a fossil fuel energy source based in a prehistoric energy. This would similarly explain why SCP-1750 has not occurred in electric or hydraulic-powered machines. There have been 5 examples of interest as of now, and the agency is actively pursuing the recovery of 2 vehicles. SCP-1750 is actively possessing an oil tanker currently submerged in the Atlantic Ocean off the Gulf Coast of Mexico near the floor of the ocean. The oil tanker has apparently been witnessed showing characteristics of shark-like or croc-like behavior, hunting whales and other large predators. Imagine just a giant megalodon submarine with teeth? Yeah, I'll leave that one up to the professionals. I'm also not really a strong swimmer. Okay, so Transformers, cool. Or Decepticons, more like. And coming in at number 4, SCP-58. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Well, let's hope not. This next one sounds like it could cause a heart attack just talking about it. And no, I'm not talking about your ex. I'm talking about SCP-58, or better known as the Heart of Darkness. Sounds like something you'd find in Zelda. This SCP has recently been contained and returned by authorities to the Foundation's premises. Thank God. This Keter-class anomaly is a large, inanimate bovine heart with various arthropod-like appendages and tentacles. I'm sorry, what does it have? It's highly hostile to all forms of life, and when it was discovered, had decimated its way through an entire town. Heartbreak City, huh? While also killing hundreds of individuals in its wake, it was eventually stopped after being pinned under masonry from the building that it had collapsed on top of it. Given the Keter-class designation due to the extreme difficulty containing it, with it orchestrating various attempts and even some successful containment breaches, the Heart of Darkness is a slippery one to handle. Large in its size with 4 legs, 4 tentacles of unknown length, and a stinger, the heart can move on its own. And pretty damn fast. The tentacles are covered in razor-sharp spines and can also be used as a whip at a distance of about 10.5 feet. At speeds of a minimum of 200 miles per hour, this SCP is highly resilient to trauma and extremely vicious, and will use every opportunity to escape. A bullet is almost as fast as this thing. No, you heard it right. In short bursts, it is capable of movement, both horizontal and vertical. It has the ability to accelerate to full speed in less than 2 seconds. It has been shown to use its tentacles for increased leverage and stability, as well as using them to pull itself to other surfaces at high speeds. SCP-58 possesses the ability to speak, although scientists are unable to figure out where the sounds are being made and transported from. Its voice is that of an elderly British male with a slight lisp and deep voice. SCP-58 talks constantly, regardless of conditions, even when it's attacking. 58's voice and pace of speech remain unchanged. Terrifying. Speeches made by 58 lack any concrete relations to events, persons, or exterior locations. I wonder if he sings. Hey, do you know Closer to the Heart by Rush? No? just asking. Thankfully, this SCP has recently been contained and the Heart of Darkness is being held at an unmarked location. Whew. Coming in at number 3, we have SCP-306. This next case reminds me of Dr. Kurt Connor's lizard in Spider-Man. Maybe this is where Stan Lee got his inspiration from. At first, this SCP seems harmless, even cute, though appearing to resemble a frog or toad in nature. This phenomenon is actually a fungus. 306 can infect humans through inhalation of spores or by skin-to-skin contact. Sounds like another pandemic to me. Initial symptoms of infection can include coughing and sneezing and skin lesions. Okay, so far not so bad. Lesions caused by 306 display to become warts and reach full size after approximately 2 days. Lesions that fall from the body of infected subjects are light enough to be carried by wind and capable of spreading 306 spores for years to come. That makes it a little hard to contain, no? SCP-306 hosts have an appearance similar to amphibians, but correspond to no known species. SCP-306 was discovered in Louisiana in a swampy area when locals reported a colony of unknown amphibious humanoid creatures coupled with a string of unexplained disappearances. 306 appears to infect mainly humans, however has been shown to grow in and on nearly every biological matter. Autopsies of deceased 306 hosts have revealed that internal structures remain morphologically similar to human organs following amphibian metamorphosis. That sentence is probably the most horrible thing I've ever said out loud. Basically, this bacteria will turn you slowly into an amphibian while keeping you somewhat human-like a half human, half frog. Warm and cold-blooded at the same time. Hazmat teams are to remove and examine personnel for signs of infection. Infected personnel are to be quarantined, affected areas to be sterilized. Any items making physical contact with infected subjects or 306 residue are to be incinerated immediately. All water and sewer systems are to be sealed, and preventing SCP-306 from infecting any large body of water is an Alpha class priority. Makes you think if the planet was once ruled by dinosaurs or just a mutated case of 306 has gone wrong. You tell me. Number 2, SCP-679. This next one is a highly infectious one and very transmittable, and I felt that it deserved to be on this list of SCPs that have had a history of escaping due to its sporadic and contagious qualities. SCP-679 is a pathogen-spread fungal infection related to an unknown Aspergillus species, discovered in Florida firstly recently among the homeless population. This highly infectious organism attacks the eyes, optical nerves, sinus, and eventually the brain, leaving only black tentacle-like receptacles outside of the face and eyes. In early stages, subjects complain of entopic phenomena and eye hallucinations. Hosts are subject to horrific visions. Irritated, itchy eyes resembling pink eyes reported. Subjects then report seeing tiny bright dots moving rapidly in their field of vision similar to floaters after staring at a wall or screen for too long. After about a week of exposure, the sclera turns black and the subject loses vision completely, rendering them blind. Small ulcerations then appear in the corners of the eyes after a day, and this causes the vitreous humor to begin leaking out, having the appearance of thick, black tears. This is basically venom attacking your eyes in a black, thick alien goop, is it not? Okay, that's 2 Spider-Man references, Kyle. Knock it off. After days of leaking, the eyes begin to rot entirely within the skull, a process sped up by the fungus and excruciatingly painful for the host. At this time, the fungus becomes mobile, and individual threads and tentacles gain mobility around the face and eyes. Guys? They move around the subject's face in seemingly random patterns, and once the fungus begins moving on its own, subjects report their vision returning. But how can they see if they don't have eyes? The fungus appears to have photosensitive cells as well as a poorly understood ability to interface with optic nerves and brain cells. Subjects begin to use vision in very different ways, and in some cases even say their vision is enhanced, seeing more spectrums of color and shape. And this is the scary part. Whenever a human with normal, uncontaminated eyes enters the SCP-679's field of vision, subjects experience terrifying hallucinations, all of which seem to drive the host closer and closer to the possible new host. Once a new host is in range, the mycelia reach out and grab the uninfected human's eyes and latch onto the new face. That's terrifying. Like just reaching out from your face to another face trying to find a new host. Basically just trying to find a new set of eyes to feed on. Treatment has been limited by time, and only persons infected within the incubation time have a chance of cauterizing and surgery. The organism is highly contagious and escapes via security constantly. Okay, so who are we supposed to call if we find these things? Like, someone's got tentacles out of their face running down the street like Beetlejuice. I need to know who I'm calling. Is there an area code? And coming in at number 1, SCP-1233. This last one makes me scratch my head. I've looked at some of the anomalous space data in the past couple years and have correlated my own homework into some terrifying discoveries. SCP-1233 is a humanoid entity of unknown origin which visually resembles an individual wearing an EMU-2 type spacesuit with clear visors and attached vehicular propulsion jetpacks. The equipment and suit worn by 1233 exhibits a number of anomalous properties. The suit itself has shown durability far exceeding that of a standard spacesuit. Anomaly has had firearms, anti-tank munitions, landmines, white phosphorus munitions, and in one instance total submersion in magma without sustaining any observable damage or decrease in functionality. The suit material, although physically based on NASA engineering, is made out of a material alien to our known universe at this time. 1233's physical strength is correspondingly anomalous. It has demonstrated the ability to lift and throw objects weighing up to 60,000 pounds and can do so repeatedly without showing an external sign of fatigue in defiance of multiple physical laws. This is why this subject is not only unattainable, it's physically impossible to host such an anomaly against its will. 1233 is capable of communicating through a loudspeaker installed in its suit, and does so in a loud, grandiloquent, and declamatory male voice, demonstrating fluency in multiple human languages, and adjusts its speech to conform with whatever language is most commonly spoken by the populace. Sounds like one of those gods our ancients were telling us about, no? Its statements are generally coherent in structure, but are frequently ramblings irrelevant to the present simulation and lacking context. Basically the ramblings of a drunk Superman. Although the phenomena only known as SCP-1233 is rendered harmless and almost friendly, the destruction caused by its simple nature of living can be quite nuclear. The anomaly is usually seen by radar and observatories venturing our atmosphere every 4 to 5 years with a trajectory from the moon. The anomaly claims that its visits are driven by curiosity and status of the galaxy. Okay, so that sounds pretty helpful. Guys at Green Lantern, Satellite Observation Network Argos 1 is to enter Priority 2 High Alert status when Argos 2 detects SCP-1233 in the upper thermosphere. An automated response from any nearby covert facility and disinformation mobile task force will be dispatched to the population center closest to 1233's descent trajectory. After the entity's departure from Earth's orbit, all appearances of damages caused by 1233 are to be accounted for with suitable cover-ups, and in conjunction with media blackouts, and any civilians having witnessed an overt display of effects are to be brainwashed via popular news stations and related sources. Disinformation, city blackouts. Could this Keter phenomenon be related to the UFO mysteries NASA's still hiding? Sounds pretty similar, no? Well, there you have it, folks. That was my top 5 most terrifying SCP creatures that have recently escaped. Lock the doors, seal up those windows, and make sure you shut those eyes tight. You don't want that eye monster squidding its way over you, know? Like and comment down below and let us know which SCP stories you want to see fleshed out. And until next time, I'm your host, Kyle McWaters. Stay spooky, everyone.